everyone.
Hello.
How are
Hi,
you?
Ashton.
Hi, Ashton.
Hello. I'm very well, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us on the UNCUT Show. I'm Ramona from Rise and Fall Season 1, aka Lady Boss. In the house, I let everybody kind of introduce themselves.
Your fan, Kieran from The Traitors. You okay?
I'm very well, thank you.
And I'm Faye from The Traitors, Faithful Faye.
Indeed you are.
Oh,
And I'm the indecisive one from Rise and Fall, Connor.
I absolutely love that shirt. That is.
Oh, thank you.
Love that.
That's the third compliment he's had on that now. So
I'm sorry. So I take it back.
So, Ashton, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. We all know that you've done the Tempting Fortune show. Before you get into that, just tell us a little bit about you.
Right. Yeah. So I'm obviously an American living in the UK. I've lived here for 8 years. I'm an event singer, so I do mostly weddings, but things like that. I actually went to uni for music, and now I'm sort of living here, doing a lot of like on and off type media stuff. I got into Tempting Fortune because they actually were looking for Americans in the UK specifically, because it was the first partnership. They actually partnered with Roku, so it will be airing in America as well.
wow.
They wanted some of us. It hasn't yet, but it will be. But
James is American as well, isn't he?
James and Michelle are both American.
Oh,
so
Michelle as well.
all three of us live in England.
Wow, yeah, because he's the next basketball player, so I was looking out for him.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
and how are you finding British people?
My husband's a British people, so I mean, and
You're
he's
used to
fine.
it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's good. I mean, I've lived here a while. I live in the Cotswolds, so I live in the middle of absolutely nowhere. But it's beautiful. So.
So hold on, you're married? You look so young.
Thank you so much. I'm 28. I'm almost 29.
When did you get married?
I was 21.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Look, we do love each other. I always feel I have to preface this story with the fact that we absolutely do love each other.
Yeah.
But it was either get married or leave the country.
Oh. You know, I've read and I've come across so many friends with exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
And even my husband, he's Lebanese, right? So he's from Abu Dhabi. Also, he had a few issues too. So there was also a time pressure always. And I completely understand you, because I kind of had a small similar journey, not as heavy as some people might do, like, you know, from UK and America. Because I know with the green card and the UK, there's a lot of
I know, it's like I'm a citizen now as of this year, so I never have to deal with that again. But the amount of money we have spent just doing all that. And I have a son, so he's British, and that didn't make a difference.
Yeah. Usually that would make a difference.
No, they don't really care.
Because too many people are doing it for no reasons, you know.
I know. We always had to provide like evidence of our relationship to prove that he didn't buy me.
That's crazy.
So, love that.
So tell us about your experience in Tempting Fortune. Like, tell us how it was. How was it when you first walked in, and how was the whole journey? The best parts, the good parts, the worst parts, and what temptation did you have the most? Where did you spend the most money, or didn't you spend most of the money?
I didn't.
Okay, all right. Tell us about it.
So, I mean, initially, so obviously we filmed in South Africa, and initially upon arriving, obviously you're doing that and like assessment, because we knew the name of the game. We understood what the concept was. So your first thing you're looking at is which of these people looks like they will not be able to handle this. And I will admit my first two were Lonnie and Truly.
Oh, Lonnie.
Truly and I are really, really, really good
Me
friends.
too.
Truly surprised all of us. Like, she is extremely resilient, and Lonnie didn't surprise anybody. I love Lonnie. I really do.
I love that.
Lonnie is what she is.
Absolutely.
And she said from day one what she was.
Yeah.
And she was true to that to the end. Love that for her.
Was the milkshake. The milkshake. Where she
it's so funny because
slurping that milkshake. And
I know. And they actually, like, there was a bit right after that, right? where it was pouring rain and she was like slurping this milkshake. And there's actually a part where I was talking and I like have the big tarp for the tent in my hands. And I like went outside and sulked and like tried to put the tent up in the rain by myself. Like, I was just like, I'm going to do this. Everyone sucks. I hate it here. And I hate this. Like, but now in retrospect, I'm like, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I think because it was the first one and it was day 2 and we were like, what is wrong with you? It was crazy. And I feel like it's just, you really can't see the level of difficulty. I've seen so many things of people saying like, how ridiculous. It's only been however many days.
Yeah.
We were like not eating at all. And so I think they said initially it was like 1,000 calories. A lot of us ended up giving our food to the people that were hungrier. So like James is physically a much larger person.
Yeah.
So he and Luke and Charlie and like some of the boys, we ended up giving parts away. So I mean, I probably feel like I was on more like 600 calories. And doing these hikes, and like you don't understand the length of them because there's just such short snippets in the show. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And like the sand dunes and stuff, it was like physically extremely challenging. And as somebody who like has never been inside a gym, I was like, I'm dying. I'm gonna die. Like I remember that first sand dune. I'm sure you saw it.
Yeah, we did. It's going on.
I was like halfway up that, and I was like, I will never make it to the end of this. I'm going to die here in the jungle. And it's like, it was madness, but you know.
Do you know why I'm laughing? Because I felt the same way when the day I came back into Rise and Fall, they put me in the challenge of the sauna 92 Celsius.
Oh, wow,
that's too hot.
With a fucking treadmill against 2 sportsmen, and they want me to run it, and I also have asthma, so when I'm running I'm like, I'm gonna die, so I can completely relate.
I have no medical excuse, I'm just unfit.
Which challenge I would have preferred, because that ice bucket water thing,
ice bucket is better, Faye, trust me, it's better. You know why? Because your body temperature adjusts to it. Yeah, so when you're coming up and you're going down, you're adjusting, it's okay. And in Germany we love saunas and we love to go into ice buckets. I would have easily done that. I just didn't. If they told me to go naked into the sauna, that would have been chill. I could have probably stayed there for 2 hours. But the fact they put a treadmill in there, it's not logically doesn't even make sense, right?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, and like we were in the water a lot more than I think you ended up seeing.
Yeah.
But we were in the water a lot, and it was cold. Like I'm talking, I have never felt anything like it. And I remember one bit, like I was just like chattering and couldn't breathe. And I think it was James who's like, your face haunts me. Like where I was like, he was like, I see your face every night when I go to sleep. I'm like, well, happy to make an impression. But yeah, I definitely think like role wise, I took on more of a background role in that I actually ended up cooking every night.
Wow.
You're very level-headed. I really like that about you.
Yeah, I'm also
mentally so strong.
Yeah, I cried a lot, and I think that was there was a lovely article about me in the Metro and my crying. Love that for me. I think there were 2 in the end about my crying, which I was like, well. If you don't like crying, I'm the wrong girl for you. So,
well, I preferred if they wrote about crying with me because they were writing about are my tits. So,
hey, look. I mean, we've all got lovely positive assets. I probably could have done a little more of that and a little less of the tears. Would have been nice.
So I've heard, Ashton, that on the show itself, you turned down a call home.
This is kind of the thing that I have been sort of gearing towards talking about a little bit more publicly, my motivation, because I don't feel my motivation was entirely clear. My motivation at the end of the day was that I wasn't comfortable taking from other people when I don't know the value of that to them. So for example, I know a lot of the arguments came down to people being like, well, I know it was 1,200 pounds, but it's actually only 100 each. And I don't feel that it's my place to tell someone it's only 100 pounds. I don't know what £100 means to, I mean, that's an entire bill. Like, you know, I don't feel like it's my job to determine the worth of money to another person. So I was just never comfortable with that. So I turned down the call because I wasn't comfortable taking from people, even though some of those people, you know, maybe didn't reciprocate that. But I'm very pleased and proud of myself for sticking to that. Because I think I would be very, very, I would have really struggled if I hadn't been true to myself and had just been like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah.
So that's where the similarities between Rise and Fall and Tempting Fortune come to play, because you are managing a prize fund as well as, but in a different way, aren't you? And you're all rulers compared to us being 6 rulers to grafters. Technically, you're all rulers and grafters in one sense, but obviously, kudos to Lani that just didn't give a shit. Like, if she wanted something, she was having it, and
she did have it. She did.
Got it. Like every time I watched her,
I know. Well, it's such a hard thing when you're watching it, because I didn't know, like, if I was allowed to make it clear that I love her.
Yeah, of course.
So all these people, I had all these people like DMing me being like, stop suppressing her, like, stop being a bitch to Lani. I was like, I literally love her more than you. Yeah. I don't know if I'm like, we're good.
We've discussed this between us 4 as well. When you're in a situation like that, because I got it, why did you let Rossi and you and Rossi and you and Jack, like, they don't realize what we go through. Like, obviously the traitors had their own bonds, and they're like Rise and Fall. You know, it's a game, and when you come out of that game, you think, oh my gosh, like, we've just done this, and you're an OG of Tempting Fortune.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So you've done something that no one's done before.
I know. And I think there's definitely an element as well of like, I'm Truly and I. So here's a little inside scoop for you. Truly and I are in a very, very unique position, and that we are the only 2 that are in communication with the entire group.
Really?
Wow.
So there were definitely some things that certain people found to be impossible to get over.
Yeah.
Things that felt to be sort of like personal betrayals and attack type things. To manage 2 group chats, like constantly making sure everyone's up to date. Truly and I are the only 2 really that flip between. But I think for me, that's because I made that decision when I left to separate what happened there from real life, because it wasn't real life. It was a high stress environment that was manufactured to make us stressed. And it was successful.
And to be honest, I think that's for all of us. It was very tough, actually. We all, had an elimination, or got murdered, or got backstabbed, or got betrayed, or thought had a best friend who then backstabbed us anyway. Like, so that things happened to me, Connor, Faye, and Kieran, and like you said, to you too. So at the end of the day, people, it does take time, and I think you're quite fresh coming out. So I think everyone right now, probably, I think, give them a few weeks. I think that group will slowly merge.
Well, we filmed in August.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
What?
On that,
August of last year. What? August 22.
Yeah, that fucking group ain't never gonna come together. Forget it. Ow.
They're dead to them. Dead.
Murdered.
Ashton, can I ask one question? I mean, if you don't answer it,
you can ask too.
When you turned down a temptation and the other group took it, how did that make you feel at that moment? Obviously now you've got over it, but at that moment, let's say, I can't remember off the top of my head, there were so many temptations. You didn't take the hotel, did you?
No.
So when that
very
group
tearfully did not take the hotel.
Yeah. So when they took that hotel, because the other group were they would take.
They were liberal with the money, I tell you.
And you guys were very much for, like, it's a group prize fund, and your group was amazing. But how did you ever get to the point where you thought, F this, I'm going to take now?
No, but I think I never got to that point because that's purely not my personality. I think for some people, maybe they wanted to reach that point, but I remember, so the hotel is a great example because I got really emotional. But I think the reason that I felt really emotional about that, and this is something that you can't squeeze into a 45-minute episode. But by that point, we'd already been, you know, there for 12 days. And I felt like I had really, really bonded with these people. So when we split and they took a lot of things, I felt like there was definitely a degree of like taking things to spite James and Luke and Charlie.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they said that, like, it was a bit like, I want to take it more because they're telling me I can't. And I kind of felt hurt and betrayed that up yours to them. I was also kind of getting an up yours. I was like, I didn't do anything. Why are you doing this to me? But and I felt really betrayed by that. Obviously, I have moved on. I no longer feel that way at all. But in that moment when you are exhausted and really hungry and you are stuck with 11 people who you don't know with no privacy for 12 straight days, I was like, just everyone get away from me.
Your mind works in different ways on that. When you're in that moment, and it's all right for people watching the show and judging and stuff like that, but they really don't have an absolute clue about where you are at that time. Like I say, the hours of the day, the emotion. I think all of us, I had emotions I didn't even know I had. I was things that normally wouldn't bothered me, and push that normally wouldn't bother me at all. But when people holding a grudge, you mentioned earlier, like have a problem after, it's unfortunately it's just you have to, them sort of people, you have to draw a line. It's a game, it's over, we all move on, life moves on. But if they hold the grudge, then it's
I think, to be fair, the ones I think hold a grudge, I think it's fundamental personality difference.
Absolutely.
That I agree that those things that happened are in the past, but I really think even if they reconciled, it would happen again because they just are not
revert to type
wavelength at all.
Lani was determined. That was her makeup. That was who she was.
Oh yeah, you know, the makeup is so funny because I saw a lot of people being like, makeup, that's ridiculous, and that was like the one that we were not fussed about because we knew she's gonna take it.
Yeah,
we were like, it's only a matter of time before they offer it, and she's gonna have it, and that's fine.
Someone like Lani, though, they had to.
Oh, I know.
She made the show. Absolutely.
I know, and she is like, she's genuinely that funny, and I feel like she's very effortlessly funny. So I appreciated having her there, if only to make me laugh every once in a while instead of just staring into the abyss and hoping someone threw me off a cliff. So
Ashton, if you had a choice to go on Rise and Fall or The Traitors, which direction would you go?
Oh, I'd have to be, I can't lie. So I can't do Traitors. I'm like the world's worst liar. I would be so clearly lying that there would be no point in having me on it. So it would have to be Rise and Fall.
And would you rather be a ruler or a grafter? Have you watched Rise and Fall?
Yeah.
Ruler or grafter?
I frankly, I don't think I'm smart enough to be a ruler. I'm just gonna have to graft, I'm afraid.
I think listening to you today, you would have been a really good ruler.
Yeah.
You would have had, compassion and empathy.
Yeah. I'm riddled with it. I'm afraid, riddled.
And who was your favourite ruler and grafter? I'm just gonna. It doesn't mean I'm not going
to answer that question.
I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to ask your least favourite.
Actually, I'm just the kind of person that doesn't have a least favourite anything. This is just who I am. But I've got to say, I'm always gonna have another girl's back. So I think, Ramona, you are probably my. I love a ruthless woman. I love a woman in charge, and I love a woman in a pantsuit. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
What about if Ramona was slurping a milkshake in front of you?
I don't know. I might have to. Oh, wait. Is it vanilla or chocolate? Well, we have
whatever you like, baby.
Yeah, I know. One of my issues with Lani taking that milkshake was like, who picks vanilla?
I don't pick vanilla. No.
Well, who would ever pick a vanilla milk?
It'd be like cookies and cream or hazelnut. I don't know, something like cool.
I think they had like strawberry, chocolate, or vanilla, and I was like,
strawberry.
You
chocolate.
The boring.
I probably would have chose vanilla.
Well, how disgusting! How dare you?
What are you up to next, Ashton? Have you got anything planned over the next year? What's your plans? What are you doing?
Great question. So I am planning to start trying to put out my own music. So I originally went to college for that, so to uni, with like an emphasis in songwriting. So I do a lot of that. I've always been a little wary of putting my own stuff out, but
not anymore. Do it.
No, not anymore.
What sort of genre?
So I do like jazz soul stuff.
Nice.
Yes, as you can tell from my insanely weird raspy voice.
I don't know why you give me like Billie Eilish vibes, you know?
Thank you so much. It's the hair. It's the
maybe
and like all the tattoos.
Like,
I'm like covered in tattoos and blue hair and like all about it. But yeah, I do like really like bluesy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you?
We have to hear it one time.
I know.
Are you looking to release something this year? Are you looking to get something out, or are you just working on it? What's the plan?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get something out probably early next year. Realistically, just that stuff takes so much longer than I think it does, especially with like marketing. But thankfully, I mean, I'm extremely lucky. I went to a really, really cool music conservatory for uni, so I have a lot of friends.
Perfect.
In the industry and people that I can sort of get help with.
Yeah. Are you following us all on the handles?
I think I've got about half of you and the show.
But you need to be getting.
I know. Well, I meant to actually, I'll do it now. Here, you know what?
I'll see it ping up on my phone.
You will. And
so first follow the Uncut and then follow everybody else.
I did. I already did that.
Good.
I sent her in the right direction. I knew what I was doing.
There we go.
Nice work.
Look at Faye. She's like, now spend 5 minutes adding us.
We've got Dan in a few, whenever as well. I've been in contact with Dan.
I love Dan. We're going out. We're going out for Truly's birthday this coming weekend.
I love it. You know, when you come, you make friends for life, don't you?
I know. I'm staying with Dan. So Dan and I are really close. Actually, I love everyone. When I went into the show, I remember meeting Ramona and she got my name wrong, called me Conrad, and I remember being down there like, me and her will never get on. And then when I came down to the basement, she was like my best friend down there. Like I literally
you know what, can I say something? Do you know how much I beat my fucking self up in the boardroom? In the red room, I was like trying to be very personal. Everyone was saying, God, guys, got a prize fund, got to kill the challenge. Not motivating. There's me trying to say everyone's name, and then the word Conrad slipped out. I tried to redo it and correct it, but guess what? It was a live message to the grafters, so he already hit it.
I did hear in the first episode of Tempting Fortune, I heard myself pronounce Tahira's name really wrong, but my face wasn't on it. And so I'm outing myself right now. And I was like, Tahara, get up here, which is absolutely not her name. And she and I are really good friends. And I was like, not going to point that out. Just
see, that happens. And anyway, and I was going to call you Conrad.
So many people called me Conrad for about 3 days. That was my name in the basement. They were like, Conrad. And I'd leave Conrad alone.
Sounds a little comrade adjacent.
Love it. Well, Ashton, we need to wrap it up. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I feel I've covered what I can.
Would you do any more shows? Would you consider anything else?
Yeah, I totally would.
We need an all-stars show. There needs to be an all-stars show.
It needs to be like a weird mashup, or we switch shows.
Yes.
So
or they need to just do one big one where it has elements of all of them, but it's like an all-stars, because American shows, they throw like everything together. And
Americans love a mismatch. Americans will absolutely milk it till it's dry.
Do you think they're milking it right now with like Perfect Match, Love is Blind, Too Hot 200? They're mixing everyone who's like single into every show. And guess what? They all end up still single.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's all about dating. But I am a Maths Australia absolute fiend. It's my favorite thing in the world.
I need to watch the Australian one because my cousin's obsessed with it. And he's like, you need to watch it.
I've never seen any of them.
My wife loves them. Absolutely obsessed with them.
I only like the Australian one.
Thank you, Ashton.
Thank you so much for having me,
Thank
guys.
you so much. It's been amazing.
Oh no, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
Real show happened in the show.